I need to tell you about the most liberating moment of my life. It happened when I was 40 years old, sitting in my car in a parking lot, and I realized something that changed everything. Nobody was going to give me permission to live the life I wanted. Not my boss, not my family, not society, not my friends, not my degree, not my past experience, not perfect circumstances, nobody. I had been waiting for 20 years. 20 years of thinking I needed more credentials before I could pursue my real goals. 20 years of waiting for someone to give me the green light. 20 years of telling myself I'd start living my real life once I had permission from the right people or the right circumstances. And in that parking lot, I finally understood the permission I was waiting for would never come. Because nobody gives you permission to live boldly. Nobody authorizes you to pursue your dreams. Nobody validates your right to want what you want. You have to give yourself permission, and if you wait for it to come from anywhere else, you'll wait forever. Think about what you're waiting for right now. Maybe you're waiting for your boss to recognize your potential before you pursue that new opportunity. Maybe you're waiting for more education before you start that business. Maybe you're waiting for the right time before you make that life change. Maybe you're waiting for someone to tell you you're ready before you take that leap. But here's the truth. You're already ready. You don't need more credentials. You don't need more preparation. You don't need someone else's approval. What you need is to stop waiting for permission and start giving it to yourself. Most people spend their entire lives in this waiting room, waiting to be chosen, waiting to be validated, waiting for someone to give them the go-ahead. And they never leave the waiting room because the permission never comes. So they die with their dreams still waiting for approval that never arrived. But what if you just left? What if you stopped waiting and started doing? What if you gave yourself permission today to pursue what you actually want? What if you stopped living like you need authorization and started living like you're already authorized? This isn't about being reckless. This isn't about ignoring wise counsel. This isn't about doing whatever you feel like without consideration of consequences. This is about recognizing that you've been using waiting for permission as a socially acceptable form of self-sabotage. You've been hiding behind the need for approval because it's less scary than taking responsibility for your own life. Right now, you probably have at least 3 things you want to do, but you're waiting for some form of permission first. 3 goals you'd pursue if someone would just tell you it's okay. 3 changes you'd make if you felt authorized. 3 versions of your life you'd try if you didn't need validation first. And you've convinced yourself that this waiting is prudent, that it's responsible, that it's mature, that you're being smart by not moving forward until you have the proper approvals and credentials and perfect timing. But you're not being smart. You're being stuck. And every day you wait for permission is another day you're not living your actual life. Another day you're giving your power to people who don't even know they have it. Another day you're letting fear masquerade as wisdom. My name doesn't matter, but my transformation does. Because I spent 40 years waiting for permission, waiting for someone to tell me I was ready, waiting for credentials that would make me legitimate, waiting for circumstances that would make my dreams feel approved and validated, until I realized nobody was going to give me that permission. And I didn't need it anyway. I just needed to give it to myself. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how you're using waiting for permission to avoid living your real life. I'm going to reveal the specific ways you're outsourcing your authority to people who never asked for that responsibility. I'm going to share what happened when I finally stopped waiting and started acting. And most importantly, I'm going to give you the exact framework to give yourself permission to build the life you actually want. But I need you to understand something uncomfortable. Giving yourself permission means taking full responsibility. It means you can't blame circumstances or other people anymore. It means you're choosing your life instead of waiting for it to be chosen for you. And that's terrifying. Are you ready for that responsibility? Are you ready to stop waiting? Are you ready to give yourself the permission you've been seeking from everyone else? Then let's begin. Because the permission you need has been available all along, you just need to claim it. Let me take you to the moment I realized I had been waiting for permission my entire adult life. I was 40 years old, sitting in my car after a particularly frustrating meeting with my boss. I had pitched an idea for a new initiative at work, an idea I believed in, an idea that would have made a real difference. My boss listened politely and then said, "I like it, but I'm not sure you're the right person to lead this. Maybe once you have a few more years of experience in leadership roles." I drove away from that meeting feeling defeated, feeling like I wasn't ready, feeling like I needed more time, more credentials, more something before I could pursue what I wanted. And then I sat in my car in a parking lot and something clicked. I was 40 years old. I had 2 master's degrees. I had 15 years of professional experience. I had led teams. I had managed projects. I had demonstrable skills. And I was still waiting for someone to give me permission to lead. But it wasn't just work. As I sat there, I realized I had been waiting for permission in every area of my life. I wanted to write a book, but I was waiting for permission, waiting to be discovered by an agent or publisher who would validate that my writing was worthy, waiting for credentials that would make me a real writer, waiting for someone to tell me I was allowed to write a book. I wanted to start a consulting business, but I was waiting for permission, waiting until I had more certifications, waiting until I had worked for a prestigious enough company, waiting until someone with authority told me I was qualified to help others. I wanted to pursue public speaking, but I was waiting for permission, waiting to be invited to speak at events, waiting for someone to recognize me as an expert, waiting for external validation that I had something worth saying. I wanted to make a major career change, but I was waiting for permission, waiting for the perfect timing, waiting for circumstances to align, waiting for someone to tell me it was okay to want something different. I was 40 years old, and I was still living like I needed authorization for everything. Like I needed someone else to validate my goals, approve my dreams, and give me the green light before I could pursue what I wanted. And the worst part? The people I was waiting for permission from didn't even know I was waiting. My boss didn't know I was waiting for him to give me the go-ahead to pursue bigger opportunities. Potential publishers didn't know I was waiting for them to discover me. Event organizers didn't know I was waiting for them to invite me. The universe didn't know I was waiting for perfect circumstances. I was waiting for permission that would never come because nobody knew I was waiting for it. Let me show you the specific ways I had been outsourcing my authority and waiting for permission. Because I guarantee you're doing some version of the same things. Permission. Type 1, credential permission. I believed I needed more degrees, more certifications, more official qualifications before I could pursue my goals. I had 2 master's degrees, but I told myself I needed more credentials before I could write a book or start a business or speak publicly. The logic was, once I have this specific credential, then I'll be qualified. Then I'll have permission to pursue my goals. Then I'll be legitimate. But here's what I learned. There's no credential that gives you permission to pursue your dreams. You can have 10 degrees and still feel unqualified because credential permission is a moving target. Once you get the degree, you decide you need another one. Once you get the certification, you decide you need more experience. It never ends. Permission. Type 2. Experience permission. I believed I needed more years of experience, more time in the field, more proven track record before I could pursue bigger opportunities. I had 15 years of experience, but I told myself I needed more before I could lead major initiatives or start my own business. The logic was, once I have enough experience, then I'll be ready. Then I'll have permission to pursue bigger things. Then people will take me seriously. But here's what I learned. There's no amount of experience that makes you feel ready, because experience permission is also a moving target. Once you have 5 years, you decide you need 10. Once you have 10, you decide you need 15. You can wait your entire career for enough experience and never feel like you have it. Permission, type 3, authority permission. I believed I needed someone in authority to validate my goals, approve my plans, and give me the green light before I could pursue them. I needed my boss to support my initiatives. I needed gatekeepers to let me through. I needed experts to tell me I was good enough. The logic was, once someone in authority says I'm ready, then I can move forward. Then I have permission to pursue this. Then it's validated. But here's what I learned. Authority figures are busy with their own goals. They're not thinking about giving you permission to pursue yours. And even when they do validate you, it's temporary. You need constant revalidation. You're always seeking the next approval. Permission. Type 4. Circumstance permission. I believed I needed perfect circumstances before I could make major changes. I needed more money saved. I needed fewer obligations. I needed better timing. I needed everything to align perfectly before I could take action. The logic was, once circumstances are right, then I can make changes. Then I have permission to pursue my goals. Then it will be safe. But here's what I learned. Circumstances are never perfect. There's always a reason to wait. Always something that's not quite aligned. Always an excuse for why now isn't the right time. Waiting for perfect circumstances is waiting forever. Permission, type 5. Market permission. I believed I needed market validation before I could offer my services or share my work. I needed to see demand. I needed proof that people wanted what I had to offer. I needed evidence that the market would receive me. The logic was, once the market shows interest, then I can move forward. Then I have permission to offer this, then it's validated. But here's what I learned. The market can't show interest in something that doesn't exist. You have to put yourself out there before you can get market feedback. Waiting for market permission before you create anything means you never create anything. Permission. Type 6. Peer permission. I believed I needed my peers to support my goals, encourage my dreams, and validate my direction before I could pursue them. I needed my colleagues to think my ideas were good. I needed my friends to approve of my changes. I needed social validation. The logic was, once my peers support this, then I can pursue it. Then I have permission to move forward. Then it's socially acceptable. But here's what I learned. Your peers are living their own lives with their own fears and limitations. They often can't see your vision because it's not their vision. Waiting for peer permission means conforming to the group instead of pursuing your individual path. Permission, type 7, self-permission. This is the deepest one. I believed I needed to feel 100% ready, 100% confident, 100% certain before I could take action. I needed to feel like I deserved success, deserved to pursue my dreams, deserved to want what I wanted. The logic was, once I feel ready, then I can act. Once I feel worthy, then I have permission to pursue this. Once I'm confident, then I can move forward. But here's what I learned. You never feel 100% ready. Confidence comes from action, not before it. Worthiness is inherent, not earned. Self-permission isn't a feeling you wait for. It's a decision you make. These 7 types of permission had controlled my entire adult life. Every goal, every dream, every change I wanted to make was waiting for one or more of these permissions. And the result? I was 40 years old, and I had accomplished almost none of what I actually wanted. I had degrees I pursued because I thought they'd give me permission. I had stayed in jobs I didn't love because leaving felt like it needed approval. I had suppressed dreams because they didn't feel authorized. I had lived a life shaped entirely by what I thought I needed permission for, rather than what I actually wanted. Sitting in that car, I saw this pattern clearly for the first time, and I was angry. Not at my boss, not at gatekeepers, not at circumstances, at myself. Because I was the one who had given my power away. I was the one who had decided I needed all these permissions. I was the one who had spent 20 years in the waiting room when the door was never actually locked. Nobody was stopping me from writing a book except my belief that I needed permission to write one. Nobody was stopping me from starting a business except my belief that I needed more credentials first. Nobody was stopping me from making changes except my belief that circumstances needed to be perfect. I was the obstacle. My need for permission was the barrier. My waiting was the problem. And right there in that parking lot, I made a decision. I was done waiting. I was giving myself permission. All the permissions I'd been seeking from everyone else, I was giving to myself today, right now. That decision changed everything. The day after my parking lot revelation, I woke up with clarity I hadn't felt in years. I was done waiting for permission, but I didn't know how to actually give myself permission. Because for 20 years, I'd been trained to seek external validation for everything. So I started with something simple. I asked myself, what's one thing I've been waiting for permission to do that I could just do today? The answer came immediately, write. I had been waiting for permission to write a book, waiting for an agent to discover me, waiting for a publisher to validate me, waiting for someone to tell me I was a real writer. But I didn't need permission to write. I just needed to write. So that day, I started. Not with a perfect plan, not with a book proposal for publishers, not with any external validation, just me, a laptop, and the decision that I was giving myself permission to write. I committed to writing 500 words every day, no matter what, no matter if they were good, no matter if anyone would ever read them. I was writing because I gave myself permission to write, not because anyone else authorized it. The first week was strange. Part of me kept waiting for someone to stop me, to tell me I wasn't allowed to do this without proper credentials or approval. But nobody stopped me, because nobody cared. Nobody was monitoring whether I had permission to write. Nobody was enforcing the rules I'd invented in my head. I was free to write. I had always been free to write. I just hadn't claimed that freedom. By the end of the first month, I had written 15,000 words. Not perfect words, but real words. A real beginning to a real book. And I had learned something profound. Permission isn't granted, it's claimed. Encouraged by this success, I started giving myself permission in other areas. Permission. 2. I gave myself permission to start a consulting business. I didn't wait for more certifications. I didn't wait for more experience. I didn't wait for market validation. I just decided, I'm a consultant now. I have valuable knowledge and I'm offering it. I built a simple website. I wrote a clear description of what I offered. I reached out to 10 potential clients. Within 2 weeks, I had my first client. They didn't ask for my credentials. They didn't check my certifications. They didn't verify my authority. They just wanted help, and I could help them. So they hired me. I had been waiting for years for permission to call myself a consultant, but nobody was withholding that permission. I just needed to claim it. Permission 3. I gave myself permission to speak. I had been waiting to be invited to speak at events, waiting for someone to recognize me as an expert, waiting for external validation that I had something worth saying. But I didn't need an invitation. I could create my own speaking opportunities. So I organized a free workshop at a local community center. I promoted it on social media. 8 people showed up. Not a huge audience, but 8 people who wanted to learn what I had to teach. That workshop led to another invitation, which led to another. Within 6 months, I was speaking at events I never would have been invited to if I'd kept waiting for invitations. Because I stopped waiting, and started creating my own opportunities. Permission. 4. I gave myself permission to make a major career change. I had been waiting for perfect circumstances, waiting for more money saved, waiting for fewer obligations, waiting for the right time. But the right time would never come. There would always be reasons to wait. So I decided the right time is when I decide it is. I gave my boss 3 months' notice. I told him I was leaving to pursue my own ventures. He was surprised but supportive. And 3 months later, I walked away from a comfortable corporate job to build the life I actually wanted. Was I scared? Absolutely. Did I have perfect circumstances? No. Did I feel 100% ready? Not even close. But I had given myself permission to do it anyway. Permission. 5. I gave myself permission to want what I wanted. This was the deepest one. I had spent years suppressing my desires because they didn't seem appropriate or realistic or acceptable. I wanted to write. I wanted to build a business. I wanted to speak publicly. I wanted to help people transform their lives. I wanted creative freedom. I wanted to work on my own terms. These desires felt selfish. They felt unrealistic. They felt like things I shouldn't want. So I had been telling myself I didn't really want them, or that I'd pursue them someday when I felt more deserving. But sitting in that parking lot, I realized these desires aren't going away. They're not temporary, they're not immature, they're who I actually am. And I don't need permission to want what I want. I just need to honor it. So I gave myself permission to want big things, to dream without apologizing, to pursue fulfillment instead of just security, to build a life that excited me instead of one that just paid bills. As I started giving myself these permissions, something interesting happened. Other people responded positively. My first consulting client didn't question my credentials. They were just happy to get help. The people who attended my workshop didn't ask about my speaking experience. They were just grateful for the content. My boss didn't fight my departure. He wished me luck. All the resistance I expected from others didn't materialize, because the resistance had never been external. It had been internal. I was the one withholding permission. Everyone else didn't care whether I had it or not. But there were challenges, 3 specific challenges that came up again and again. Challenge 1, the imposter feeling. Every time I claimed a new permission, I felt like an imposter. Who was I to call myself a consultant without decades of experience? Who was I to write a book without being discovered by publishers? Who was I to speak without being invited by prestigious organizations? This imposter feeling was intense, but I learned something important. Everyone feels this way when they claim their authority. The feeling doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're doing something new. The imposter feeling is actually a sign that you're growing. So instead of waiting for the feeling to go away before I acted despite the feeling. I wrote despite feeling like an imposter writer. I consulted despite feeling like an imposter consultant. I spoke despite feeling like an imposter speaker. And slowly, the feeling decreased. Not because I got external validation, but because I gathered evidence through action that I could do these things. Challenge 2, the criticism. When you stop waiting for permission and start acting, some people will criticize you. They'll question your credentials. They'll doubt your abilities. They'll suggest you're being reckless or arrogant or foolish. I experienced this. A former colleague told me I was crazy to leave my stable job. A family member said I was being irresponsible by pursuing uncertain ventures. An acquaintance suggested I was setting myself up for failure by acting without proper authorization. These criticisms hurt, but I learned something important. The criticism often comes from people who are still in their own waiting rooms, who are still seeking permission for their dreams, who are uncomfortable with anyone who stops waiting because it confronts their own paralysis. Their criticism wasn't about me, it was about their own fears. So I thanked them for their concern and continued anyway. Challenge 3, the uncertainty. When you give yourself permission instead of waiting for it, you lose the comfort of having someone else to blame if things don't work out. If you fail after getting someone's approval, you can blame them. If you fail after giving yourself permission, you have to own it. This uncertainty was scary. What if I failed? What if I gave myself permission to pursue these dreams and they didn't work out? Then what? But I learned something important. The certainty I thought I had while waiting for permission was an illusion. Waiting didn't make me safer, it just made me stuck. Taking action with uncertainty was less comfortable but more honest. So I embraced uncertainty as the price of autonomy. I'd rather fail pursuing what I actually want than succeed at something I never cared about. Within 1 year of giving myself permission, my life looked completely different. I had written 80,000 words of my book. I had a consulting business with 12 ongoing clients. I had spoken at 15 events. I had left my corporate job and was working for myself. I had more income than my corporate salary. I had more fulfillment than I'd experienced in 20 years. Not because I suddenly got smarter or more talented or more credentialed, but because I stopped waiting for permission and started claiming my authority. After transforming my life by giving myself permission, I developed what I call the permission framework. This is the system that helps you identify where you're waiting for permission, claim your authority, and build the life you actually want. The framework has 7 components, and each one is essential. Component 1, the permission audit. You need to identify specifically what you're waiting for permission to do. Most people don't realize how many areas they're stuck in the waiting room. The practice. Complete these sentences multiple times. I would pursue this goal if only I had permission from this person or circumstance. Example. I would start a business if only I had my spouse's full support. Example. I would change careers if only I had more money saved. Example. I would write a book if only I had an agent who believed in me. I'm waiting to do this thing until this specific thing happens. Example. I'm waiting to pursue my passion until I have more credentials. Example. I'm waiting to make a change until circumstances are more stable. Example. I'm waiting to start my project until I feel more confident. I can't do this thing because I don't have this specific permission. Example. I can't call myself an expert because I don't have enough experience. Example. I can't start this business because I don't have the right degree. Example. I can't pursue this dream because people will judge me. Write at least 10 examples. Get them all out. These are the places where you've outsourced your authority and are waiting for someone else to give it back. For me, the audit revealed I was waiting for permission in 12 different areas. Writing, business, speaking, career change, financial freedom, creative expression, leadership roles, public visibility, setting my own schedule, pricing my services, saying no to things I didn't want to do, and wanting more than I had. Component 2, the authority reclamation. For each area where you're waiting for permission, you need to reclaim your authority. This means recognizing that you've always had the power to give yourself permission. The practice. For each item from your audit, write an authority statement. I've been waiting for permission from this source to do this thing, but I don't need permission from them. I give myself permission to do this thing, starting today. Example. I've been waiting for permission from publishers to write a book, but I don't need permission from publishers. I give myself permission to write, starting today. Example. I've been waiting for permission from perfect circumstances to change careers, but I don't need permission from circumstances. I give myself permission to make changes, starting today. Example: I've been waiting for permission from my inner critic to call myself an expert, but I don't need permission from my fears. I give myself permission to share my expertise, starting today. Write an authority statement for each area. Say them out loud, sign them, date them. These statements are your self-granted authorizations. Component 3, the imposter acknowledgement. When you claim your authority, the imposter feeling will come. Instead of fighting it, acknowledge it and act anyway. The practice: create an imposter statement that normalizes the feeling and commits to action despite it. Format: I will feel like an imposter when I do this thing. That's normal and expected. I will do it anyway. The imposter feeling is proof I'm growing, not proof I shouldn't act. Example: I will feel like an imposter when I call myself a consultant. That's normal and expected. I will consult anyway. The imposter feeling is proof I'm growing, not proof I'm unqualified. Write these for each new area where you're claiming authority. This prepares you for the discomfort and prevents the imposter feeling from stopping you. Component 4, the action commitment. Permission means nothing without action. You need to commit to specific actions that demonstrate your self-granted authority. The practice: for each area where you've claimed authority, identify one action you can take within 7 days that demonstrates you're living with that permission. Example: if you gave yourself permission to write, commit to writing 500 words this week. Example: if you gave yourself permission to start a business, commit to creating a simple website this week. Example: if you gave yourself permission to speak, commit to organizing one small speaking opportunity this month. Make these commitments specific, time-bound, and non-negotiable. Your self-granted permission becomes real through action. Component 5, the credential reframe. You need to shift how you think about credentials, experience, and qualifications. The old thinking: I need this credential before I can pursue this goal. The new thinking: I pursue this goal and gain experience through doing. Credentials may come later if they're useful, but they're not prerequisites. The practice: for any area where you've been waiting for more credentials or experience, write a reframe statement. I don't need this specific credential to pursue this goal. I need to start pursuing the goal, gather experience, and get real-world feedback. I learn by doing, not by waiting to feel qualified. This reframe breaks the credential trap. You stop waiting for permission in the form of degrees and start gaining permission through demonstrated capability. Component 6, the criticism management. When you claim your authority, some people will criticize. You need a system to process criticism without letting it stop you. The practice: create a criticism filter with 3 questions. Question 1, is this criticism from someone who has done what I'm attempting or from someone in their own waiting room? If they've done it, consider their feedback. If they're waiting to, acknowledge their fear, but don't let it stop you. Question 2, is this criticism about me or about their discomfort with anyone who stops waiting? If it's about their discomfort, it's not really about you. Thank them and continue. Question 3, is there useful feedback in this criticism that can improve my approach? If yes, extract the useful part and implement it. If no, discard it and move forward. This filter helps you process criticism productively without being paralyzed by it. Component 7, the permission expansion. Once you successfully give yourself permission in one area, use that success to give yourself permission in others. The practice: after you've acted on one self-granted permission and seen results, document it. I gave myself permission to do this thing. I took this action. I got this result. This proves I can give myself permission and succeed. Then use that evidence to claim authority in a new area. Since I successfully gave myself permission to do that thing, I can give myself permission to do this new thing. This creates a permission cascade. Each success makes the next permission easier to claim. I use this. After I successfully gave myself permission to write and completed my book manuscript, I used that success to give myself permission to pitch the book to publishers without waiting to be discovered. After I successfully gave myself permission to start a consulting business, I used that success to give myself permission to raise my rates without waiting for market validation. Each claimed permission made the next one easier. These 7 components create a complete system for identifying where you're waiting for permission, reclaiming your authority, and actually building the life you want instead of waiting for someone to authorize it. Now you understand how to stop waiting for permission. Let me give you the exact action plan to start giving yourself the authority you've been seeking from others. Action 1. Complete your permission audit tonight. Write down every area where you're waiting for permission, every goal that's on hold until you get approval, every dream that's waiting for validation, every change that's waiting for perfect circumstances. Get them all visible. You need to see how many areas you've been stuck in the waiting room. Action 2. Choose your first permission to claim. From your audit, pick one area, not the scariest, not the easiest. The one that, if you claimed authority there, would create the most immediate positive change in your life. This is your starting point. Action 3. Write your authority statement for that area. Use the format. I've been waiting for permission from this source to do this thing, but I don't need permission from them. I give myself permission to do this thing starting today. Write it clearly. Say it out loud. Sign it. Date it. This is your self-granted authorization. Action 4. Identify your imposter trigger. How will you feel like an imposter when you act on this permission? What will your inner critic say? Write it down. Then write your imposter statement. I will feel like an imposter when I do this. That's normal. I will do it anyway. This prepares you for the discomfort. Action 5. Commit to one action within 7 days. From your claimed permission, what's one specific action you can take in the next week that demonstrates you're living with this authority? Make it concrete. Make it scheduled. Make it non-negotiable. This is how permission becomes real. Action 6. Tell one person about your self-granted permission, not for their approval, for accountability. Say, I'm giving myself permission to pursue this goal. I don't need approval from anyone else. I'm acting on my own authority. I wanted you to know. Having a witness makes it real. Action 7. Create your credential reframe for one area. Pick one goal you've been waiting to pursue until you have more credentials or experience. Write, I don't need this specific credential to start. I need to start, gain experience, and gather real-world feedback. I learn by doing. Put this where you'll see it when doubt creeps in. Action 8. Prepare for criticism. You will receive criticism when you claim your authority. Write your 3 criticism filter questions where you can reference them. Is this from someone who has done it? Is this about me or their discomfort? Is there useful feedback here? Use this filter when criticism comes. Action 9. Document your first success. After you take your first action on your self-granted permission, document what happened. Write, I gave myself permission to do this. I took this action. I got this result. Keep this evidence. You'll use it to give yourself permission in other areas. Action 10. Give yourself a second permission. Once you've successfully acted on your first self-granted permission, use that success to claim authority in a second area. Write, since I successfully gave myself permission to do that, I can give myself permission to do this. Start creating your permission cascade. Action 11. Address one credential trap. Identify one area where you've been waiting for more credentials or experience before acting. This week, take one action in that area despite not having the credentials you think you need. Prove to yourself that credentials aren't prerequisites. Action 12. Create your permission mantra. Write a statement you'll repeat when doubt creeps in. I don't need permission from anyone else to pursue my goals. I give myself permission. I am authorized by my own decision. I am qualified by my commitment to learn and grow. Put this on your phone wallpaper or bathroom mirror. Action 13. Schedule your monthly permission review. Put a recurring reminder in your calendar. Once per month review. What permissions did I claim this month? What actions did I take? What results did I get? What criticisms came up, and how did I handle them? What's my next permission to claim? This keeps you actively claiming authority instead of sliding back into waiting. Action 14. Join or create a permission community. Find others who are giving themselves permission to pursue their goals. This could be an online group, a local meetup, or just 3 friends who commit to supporting each other's self-granted authority. Having a community of people who aren't waiting makes it easier for you to stop waiting too. Action 15. Commit to the permission lifestyle. Write this commitment. I commit to giving myself permission to pursue what I actually want instead of waiting for authorization from others. I commit to claiming my authority. I commit to acting despite imposter feelings. I commit to processing criticism productively. I commit to being the author of my life, not the character waiting for someone else to write my story. Sign it, date it. This is your declaration of authority. Now, some of you are thinking, but what if I give myself permission and fail? What if I act without proper credentials and I'm not actually ready? What if claiming authority is just arrogance in disguise? Here's my answer. Yes, you might fail, but you're also guaranteed to fail if you wait forever for permission that never comes. Failure after action teaches you something. Failure after waiting teaches you nothing. And giving yourself permission isn't arrogance. Arrogance is believing you don't need to learn or grow. Permission is believing you're worthy of pursuing your goals while being open to learning and growing through the process. The question isn't whether you're ready. The question is whether you're willing to become ready through action rather than waiting to feel ready before acting. Let me tell you where I am now, 4 years after I gave myself permission to stop waiting. I wrote my book, not by waiting for a publisher to discover me, by giving myself permission to write it and then self-publishing. It sold 15,000 copies in the first year. I've now written 3 books. All started with self-granted permission. I built a thriving consulting business, not by waiting for more credentials or market validation, by giving myself permission to call myself a consultant and offer my services. I now work with clients across 5 countries. All started with self-granted permission. I speak regularly at events, not by waiting to be invited by prestigious organizations, by giving myself permission to create my own speaking opportunities. That led to bigger invitations. I've now spoken at conferences I never would have been invited to if I'd kept waiting. I work entirely on my own terms, not by waiting for perfect circumstances or someone's approval, by giving myself permission to design my own life. I set my own schedule. I choose my own projects. I work with people I want to work with. But the external successes aren't what matter most. The internal transformation is what changed my life. 4 years ago, I was waiting for permission from everyone. My boss, my industry, my credentials, my circumstances, even my own feelings of readiness. I was 40 years old and still acting like I needed authorization to live my own life. Today, I give myself permission for everything. I don't wait for approval. I don't seek validation. I don't need credentials to prove I'm worthy. I decide what I want to pursue, I give myself permission to pursue it, and I take action. And here's what I've learned. The permission you need has always been available. You've always had the authority. You've always been qualified to pursue what matters to you. You just needed to claim it. Nobody is withholding permission from you. You're withholding it from yourself. And you're using waiting for permission as a sophisticated form of self-sabotage. A socially acceptable excuse for not pursuing what you actually want. Your boss isn't stopping you from pursuing bigger opportunities. Your lack of self-granted permission is stopping you. Publishers aren't stopping you from writing. Your belief that you need their permission to write is stopping you. Gatekeepers aren't stopping you from building your business. Your belief that you need more credentials first is stopping you. Circumstances aren't stopping you from making changes. Your belief that circumstances need to be perfect before you can act is stopping you. You're waiting in a room with an unlocked door. Nobody's guarding it. Nobody's keeping you there. You can leave any time. You just need to give yourself permission to walk out. 4 years ago, I sat in a car in a parking lot and realized nobody was going to give me permission to live the life I wanted. Today, I'm living that life. Not because circumstances became perfect, not because gatekeepers finally approved me, but because I stopped waiting and started claiming. That's available to you, not 4 years from now. Today, right now, the moment you decide to give yourself permission instead of waiting for it to come from somewhere else. What are you waiting for? Really? What permission are you waiting for? From whom? And what makes you think they're going to give it to you? They're not. Because they're not thinking about giving you permission. They're busy with their own lives. They don't even know you're waiting. But you know. And now you know you don't need to wait anymore. You can give yourself permission today. For everything you've been waiting to pursue, I was 40 when I gave myself permission to stop waiting. Maybe you're 30, maybe you're 50, maybe you're 60. The age doesn't matter. What matters is that you have life ahead of you, and you can choose to spend that life waiting for permission that never comes, or you can spend it pursuing what you actually want with self-granted authority. I chose self-granted authority. My life transformed completely, and I'm not special. I just stopped waiting. You can stop waiting too, right now, today. Give yourself permission. All the permissions you've been seeking from everyone else, give them to yourself. You don't need anyone's approval to pursue your dreams. You don't need more credentials. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to decide, I give myself permission, starting today. 4 years ago, I was waiting for permission in a parking lot. Today, I'm living the life I gave myself permission to build. Stop waiting. Start claiming. Your life is waiting for your authorization.